This is the Generative AI Security Podcast, brought to you by the OWASP Generative AI Security Project. We'll be talking about pertinent industry issues around generative AI with our project leads, contributors, and more. Please click like and subscribe for all of our latest content. Hey community, Aubrey here with the OWASP GenAI Security Project, and I'm bringing you another instance of our Generative Security Podcast. So today I have a very special guest. That's right, I am joined by John Sotiropoulos. How are you, John?
Hey, hi Aubrey, I'm very well, and you?
I'm doing quite well. It's kind of coming up on the end of the day, way later for you. It's like, what, 10 p.m. or something?
No, it's actually about half 9, so it's fine.
Okay, all right. So that's not terrible. Okay, we'll get you out of here soon, I'm sure. But we have too much important stuff to talk about, today. So we'll definitely flow through that. For those of you that are not familiar with our project, it is one of the hottest projects at OWASP right now, and that is we've got a number of different initiatives that are broken out in the GenAI Security Project. Now, John, you lead up the Agentic Security Initiative, yes?
That's right. That's correct.
Okay. Now, for anyone who hasn't been to our website, which is genai.owasp.org, this is what it looks like, and this is right into our initiatives. So if you're up in the top menu, you can see initiatives, and you'd go to Agentic App Security, brings you right down into here. So can you tell me and the community a little bit about this initiative and why, most importantly, why we created this? What was the need?
Of course. First of all, I co-lead the initiative. My co-lead, Ron Rosario, couldn't join tonight, but he has been also very active leading this initiative. So we started this initiative out of the conversations for the top 10 for LLMs in 2024. There was Agentic, if you remember back then, was starting to emerge. We had the excessive agency entry already, and we went into many conversations. I submitted with Emmanuel a entry for vulnerable agents, but we weren't sure, and we said instead of creating a new entry or even a new top 10, let's go away, let's explore the space, let's deep dive, let's use our fantastic community to collect data, to collect understanding, and then revisit whether we need a top 10 and how does this relate to the top 10 for LLM. Initially we said, let's go through like real developers. Let's understand the threats and mitigations. Let's do threat modeling. Let's come up with the secure guidelines for development, for architecture, for deployment, and also all the ecosystem around security. And we have created a few documents that have been very, very popular. We call it affectionately AC, by the way, the Agentic Security Initiative. So we've released the threat and mitigations, phenomenal adoption, about 15 threats in there with this very simple threat model. And back then, and even now, we wanted to provide very simple framing of what Agentic is, Agentic AI and Agentic Security is, because sometimes people get into endless conversations. Oh, is this? And what about this? And what about that? And then, we miss actually the main point, which is, it is what it is. We just need to secure it. So we provided that framework. We have about 15 threats and playbooks. We tried to avoid producing an order list because we weren't at that stage. We just wanted to create a taxonomy that says, at large, these are the threats and these are the mitigations. 15 threats and 50-page document is quite big to read. So we've also created, if you go back, we've created a very graphical navigator that, if you kind of bring that up, that...
There we go.
Yeah, exactly. People can go and download that. I find that extremely useful in my work, and I use threats and mitigations on a daily basis in Arcanus practice. And so we thought, armed with that, we will actually engage with the community, not just in the kind of didactic way where, the community is an audience where we throw things at them, but let's take them through the process. Let's collect feedback, and we realized that you can only collect feedback in action. If you go to say someone, give me your feedback, they'll stare at you and say, well, what? So Ali and Ron and others have started doing hackathons. And through that, we had fantastic response. I mean, Ali did a hackathon in New York with 100 people. She's doing another one in DEF CON. Her and Helen Oakley created this new CTF platform that's becoming by the way, in the initiative, we have what we call work streams, mini initiatives, if you like. And so that's the CTF work stream, where Helen and Ali have this Fimbot, which is a capture the flag application. So all of that allowed us to engage with hundreds and hundreds and thousands of practitioners and get back feedback. We've released a document about how do we use threat modeling, how do we use Maestro as a threat modeling methodology that Ken Huang has introduced. We also released recently, we worked, we did the open workshop in RSA. That gave us another set of fantastic feedback items. And we released only on Monday the Securing Agentic Apps guide, and that has become viral. It's the first time I saw something like within the first day, 1,000 reactions, people reading it, posting back and say, hey, this is exactly what we need. So this is really cool stuff. And there's so many people there, Idan, Vinith, Tomer, Elias, Karen. I will miss so many people, but that's the beauty of the community, that they've created something that they engage with other people, and when they released it, it became completely viral. On Thursday, we have the last part of what I call the exploration phase. In other words, understanding and creating chunky documents. And that's the state of, we renamed it, I can't remember the name. That's a shame for me. It's the state of AI security and governance. And that takes a complementary role. So securing agentic apps look at design, architecture, secure development and coding, deployment, hardening. And so now the last part is, well, what's the governance that you have around that? What's the compliance requirements that you have? What the ecosystem looks like? And we complete that end-to-end treatment. So that what that has done is we help the community have concrete guidelines, but also us now have a solid foundation to step back and say, hang on a minute, this is a lot of documentation. How do we now make it more usable? And this is where I think the top 10 comes in, and that's where the excitement starts. So we had many conversations, and we said, let's produce cheat sheets. And I know some of the guys in the team are producing some cheat sheets for MCP and A2A. And then we said, let's be brave and summarize everything into the iconic headline item that the top 10 is.
Well, you said iconic, right? So we do have a new top 10 coming. And You did hear that right, OWASP fans, right? We do. It's going to be the top 10 for Agentic, right? So
yes,
this is where we are today, and this is an alpha technically, right? Maybe like a 0.5 release.
Yes, so exactly. So it's very early days. So unlike all the other top 10s, where people start with expert opinions, we have a head start. All that feedback that I said, the hackathons, the threats and mitigations, it's a solid foundation. So we took that and we translated into entries, 15, 16 entries. And so if you look at the first one, Aubrey,
memory poisoning.
People will kind of recognize this as one of the most well understood. Again, we took what we have in the threats and mitigations and organically evolved it into a top 10 item. The ranking is a little bit arbitrary. It's just what we have in the document, but we'll evolve that. The purpose with this is to go through that, define distinctly the scenarios, all the stuff that we do with the top 10 for LLMs. But also because we have the top 10 for LLMs, we also want to relay that. Those two top 10s, and that's the value of the Agentic top 10 coming out of the security, the GenAI Security Project, is that we shouldn't treat them like, there is something new, shiny thing, let's produce a top 10. There is the LLM. Agentic apps are LLM-based applications. So we went out of our way in the top 10, in the new top 10, to relate back, to link back to the LLM top 10, and make sure that practitioners and builders and defenders don't just have to throw away all the security guidelines that we have. And there is this kind of link and logical usability there.
Boy, it's funny, this one right here too, LLM04, data and model poisoning. This is one of my favorites. I'm really focused on trying to really come up with some guidelines, and I won't go into it at all, but guidelines for essentially how to micro-segment your applications so that you can kind of avoid some of this stuff too. But that's just one of those ideas, though, that people, when they join the community, can maybe contribute. And I think you guys are hoping for some of that, right? I mean, I did see here we've got 16, but you also have this one down here that's John Sotiropoulos, vulnerable agentic support.
Very naughty.
What is that?
That's look, I wanted to, I thought, you know what, let me be the first contributor. So we want people, this is a GitHub repository. We want people to contribute. There is a template, we'll see it in a minute, but I wanted to give an example of the kind of real life references that I want to see. We don't want to see academic, sometimes ChatGPT augmented, kind of items. We want to see things that reflect what people experience in the real life. And if you can see in this entry, I've done a survey of what's happened recently, tried to connect it. This is the debate we need to have. It has to be something that relates to real life experiences.
And right here, I love that you include the actual news articles that spawned the need for these. That's spectacular.
Aubrey, that's great, because very often people are bombarded with headlines, and I want us, through the great work OWASP does, to relate all the fire hose of news to the guidelines that we have. Sometimes I go to my customers and I talk about AI security, and they say, "Oh my God, John, I'm drowning, and you're just showing me the water, the headline. Just give me some practical guidelines." So that's what we're trying to do.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the template, so I am going to actually go ahead and pull this back up here in case you're wondering how you can actually submit something. If you're looking through this, and we will include links in the podcast description, but if you are looking through this and you see amongst these initial 17 vulnerabilities that are here, you see something that you think is missing, the last entry here is marked down for the template itself. And if you want to just clone the repository, go ahead, clone it. And, you can make your own branch. And if you want to do, a pull request, that's exactly what we're looking for from our community members.
That's exactly the process.
So, okay, now there is a process also by which these things will eventually get ranked. We're still in the 0.5, but you did show me the the community review here.
This is a very early step. We are racing to create what we call the public draft. So you will see more of those votes. Steve Wilson did a lot of that, and we learned a lot from him on the top 10 for LMs. At this stage, all we're asking is those 15, 16 threats there and mitigations, they weren't supposed to be ranked in the threats and mitigations. So can you give us your preference of how they rank, and then use there is at the end a nice long free text document where people can type anything they like. But guys, if you're going to propose a new thread, go and do what Aubrey suggested, which is, don't expect me then to use the template. Here is also, someone said, I can't remember who, was Josh or Ryan on from Amazon. He said, well, what about merging two? And we don't have an option for that. So use that box to say, hey, we think those two, they're not really too distinct, just merge them. Now this is just the beginning, we want to create the first draft and then go publicly on Monday on the call. And if you go to that AC page on our website, you will find the details. Every Monday at 5:30 Pacific time, we have a call. And we have kind of very, very active and robust debates about what it should be. So the Monday that's coming, we are dedicating it to discuss what should be on the public draft. So if you hear this in time and you have the time, join us. We're a very welcoming bunch, and we love feedback.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, so you mentioned the public release that was in, or the public draft. That is, we talked about it as a 0.9. When September, October?
Okay, yeah. So the 05, we will kick off the public consultation August the 6th. And as you know, it coincides with Black Hat. So we thought, it's going to rush things a little bit, but we have so many people from the community in Black Hat. Why not grab the opportunity, bring the community together and get feedback? So we have this, what we call public draft. And then August the 6th, guys, we are kicking off the public consultation. And that's when things will become really at global scale, votes and, let's do calls where we review specific vulnerability, the meaty word. And then in September, we bring let's call it 09. Earlier on, we said, what about 0999? Something before 1.
Yeah. Okay. That works. And there is actually, for anyone who's going to be at Black Hat, I'm going to be there also, and I'd love to get your feedback on what we're doing here. So if you see me hanging around with a camera somewhere and are not afraid to get in front of it, I'm very happy to talk to you a little bit about what your thoughts might be about this particular initiative and this new top 10 that we're building for Agentic Apps. Now, we've got a couple other things that are coming up as well that were covered in this LinkedIn post. Yes?
Yes. Connects very nicely.
Yes. So that is that's the August 6th is the global call. That's right?
Yes. Well,
so if we look at the global call, and you can find this on our LinkedIn. If you haven't been to our LinkedIn, please go. We got 13,000 followers in the past couple of years, which is nice. And it's the OWASP GenAI Security Project. Again, if you're not familiar with that LinkedIn group. But one of our posts here also has this wonderful, kickoff. And the global call here is going to be at, looks like noon to 1 Eastern time. And this will be the big party. An amazing graphics here, I got to say. So that's that. And we also want to make sure that the community is aware that there are localized events too. So you can see here, London is hosted by Kanos. There will also be Athens, Tel Aviv, and Las Vegas. These are hosted by Tenable, it looks like.
Yep. And AI and me in Athens. I think that's, it's kind of fantastic that's what's happening, because I think it brings the global community together. There is so much enthusiasm, Aubrey. It's kind of like I kicked off the London this morning and I had half the capacity of Farum, people just joining within a day. I think it just showcases the global character OWASP has. OWASP isn't just in Black Hat, though our hearts will be there. OWASP is everywhere. And what we're bringing also together is that I don't know many of your viewers know that in the Agentic Security Initiative, what we call the Distinguished Experts Review Board. And what that is we believe we are expert-backed, community-driven organization, which means that we have some very well-known names like Apostol Vasiliev, the head of adversarial AI at NIST, Hiram Anderson from Cisco, Chris Hughes, everyone knows Chris Hughes on LinkedIn from Acquia. Oh my goodness, I will forget names. The chief architect from Oracle. Who else? The Alan Turing Institute from Microsoft, the head of red teaming. So you can imagine, the kind of people. So we will bring all those people together on the call. All the local events start half an hour earlier. We'll have pizza and talk and exchange ideas, and then we'll all join this massive party on the call, and we'll unveil the public draft and discuss a little bit how they can participate. So a lot of excitement.
I love it. Fantastic. Well, I guess that kind of rounds out all the coming excitement for the community. You have any kind of final thoughts before we call it a day?
I will say this: expert-backed, community-driven. In other words, we need the experts, but guys, you have the experience of everyday life. Life isn't just in books and papers; it's lived experience. So bring it in.
Absolutely. definitely join the project, join the calls, get involved as much as you can, because honestly, if you're like John and I, you probably understand that this AI thing needs to be harnessed a little bit.
Exactly. Make it everyone's.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you, Aubrey.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the time today, John. I know you're super busy, especially with all this on top of the day job. So
it's so exciting, Aubrey. You know, what we do at this project is just phenomenal. I love it. So thank you very much for the time.
Me too. And thank you, community. We appreciate the feedback. We appreciate you tuning in. If you could do us a favor and click like and subscribe, and go ahead and tell every single person that you know about this podcast and our project and the things that we're doing at OWASP today, please do us a favor and help out as much as you can. Once again, I'm Aubrey King with the GenAI Security Project at OWASP, and you've been listening to the GenAI Security Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Thanks for checking out the Generative AI Security Podcast. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.